head and shoulders above the rest of Nova right now. Sat on a clean 45 kills in this tournament, which is absolutely nuts. Over 15 games.
All the way order, honestly. And looking even more deeply into his stats there, if you look at his knocks versus his eliminations, the average is actually quite similar. So for Paraboy, a little bit more different in the sense that he has more limbs, a lot more limbs than knock averages, which to me says the order is just translating all of his knocks into his own eliminations and doing a lot of this work solo. And I think that's very, very impressive coming from a singular player. We do get this playing path coming from Zaki all the way into Milta at the moment, so teams will have to vie for the context down towards Sosnovka military base. Stalwart have been able to make it out pretty easy, though their drop will be made late because of this, but regardless, should be able to start getting looted up fairly soon.
Plane path gonna push people down on that western edge, just south near that hospital area. Stalwart, they made their way to Novo Infinity, back to basics in Sosnovka military base.
You might think that, you know, buggy surfing looks easy when Nova do it, but the amount of times and the amount of tournaments I've watched where people have tried to buggy surf and get flung off around about 10 meters into the ride is unreal. But it feels like this is becoming more necessarily be able to. That does really give you a lot of options in the early game, especially when 3 players all drop around one location, only have a buggy in hand. And that's really assisting the early game rotates for Nova to get into position, especially when they have an awkward playing path that starts in Zaki. They want to get down into Gatka as soon as possible. Here they're able to make it happen. Start the end days now for PMGC Grand Finals. Not in the sense it's never going to continue. We hope it always continues. PMGC Grand Finals always a lot of fun. But looking on the right side of the screen, 137, 134 to that massive, gargantuan 197. It really does feel unlikely now.
To me, it is all about that 2nd through 5th place, how much that can change, because blank 2nd place is worth $600,000. 5th place, $90,000. That is an incredible drop-off for a gap of just 8 points between Infinity and, at the moment, Enigma Galaxy. I feel like that is just incredible that we're seeing it this late into the tournament, such a non-distinct top bracket within this table standing. I mean, you've got DXavier on the outside as well. That could be a wild card in towards those top standings. But the money that you earn for those small increments of points is absolutely incredible. It's vast.
It is. I'm going to do Imperium a solid here and shout out, helicopter, helicopter! So he's making it happen once again as Corio. Especially when we have such a huge prize pool overall, 6 million coming to this PMGC. It was unbelievable when it was announced. It's still unbelievable now. And you say that there's that $600,000 drop into $90,000. Man, I'm saying $90,000 is still a lot of money on the line. So if you get into these top spots right now, you're still going to be going home with quite a big prize pool for yourself, but it does go up massively in increments. And I think Na'Vi would not want to drop that away and let Enigma Galaxy grab that $600,000 when they have been pushing so hard this tournament. And I does go up.
Right, from 3rd to 4th place is that drop off. So they are definitely not out of the woods.
They're not out of the woods yet. No, absolutely. And I think that for Na'Vi, keeping this up is not necessarily, like you said, just a case of beating out Enigma Galaxy here. It's beating back Nextria and the Infinity and the DX Xavier. I don't think we've actually really touched on DX Xavier. And I think 7 too, honestly, is a case of you have to hope that Nova goes out 16th, 12th place for the next 3 games. Either have a hope in hell. But is that going to happen? The boy said it best on the desk. No, to be quite honest with you.
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense actually when you say no.
Yeah.
I get that. No, fair enough. I think it's as I said towards the start, it feels fairly foregone, and the battle for second place is raging a little bit further down the tables. I'm thinking, what is the difference? You know, why are they coming into these things so strong when they haven't always been in the top in their respective regional plays? You know, they have been challenged, if nothing else. What is it? Is it this change of introducing the Western teams that gives them that little bit of strength? You know, whilst the West is strong, it changes the dynamic pretty significantly. And could that change affect their performance in a positive way? Does it give them things to use, tools in their arsenal that they maybe didn't have against those East-style lobbies? And maybe it's that stylistic difference that is giving them such strength.
I will give one last point here before I get right back to the game and start analyzing these positions, etc. Because for me personally, I think for Nova, obviously coming from PEL and then coming to here when you're playing on, you know, PUBG Mobile Standard, right? This is a case of, for me, a change in performance over time, which is because of practice and playing with these teams, understanding their play style. And I think that if there's any team that improves the quickest, I know we always give out these improvement awards towards the end of the tournaments. Good fight here from Godlike for once. This is really, really strong. Coming out on top. Damwon obviously taking some good shots between them earlier on in this tournament. Junie, clutch factor.
He's got Sung as well. Junie and Sung, a devastating duo. Damwon with some of the strongest crossfires in buildings in the game, but they're out on the open terrain, and it seems like Godlike have the upper hand here. They should be able to get these reses off, pick up an elimination point, and start on their climb a little bit further up those tables, trying to scrabble together as many points as they can.
To quickly round up my last point, I think it's for Nova, it's practice, and over time they improve so quickly in different environments. It's unbelievable. And I think for any other team that might be very difficult, and Nova just has this fantastic mindset and grind set, to be honest with you, especially when they come out in an interview and they're like, you know, our biggest enemy is ourselves. And that's fair play to them. That's fair play to them. Look at that fight though, this is Damwon Gaming's biggest strength, is to understand when to leave a fight, when to not go any further in it. And I think, you know, being in 9th place at the moment, where there is a potential for a massive jump up in points, taking the L there and leaving, probably the best thing to do.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. You just want to be getting 8 points in this game, right? And just keep it consistent, because you know you're down to 2. It's going to be a little bit less likely to really get those big point scoring games. You just want to play for consistency. Next circle, just about to pop. Fairly centered on Pmgc right now. Could head out to, probably the kindest for most teams in this circle is to head out east towards that sort of glut. And in fact, it does do exactly that, over towards actually Fenerbahce, right in the middle.
Yeah, good position for them. I'm gonna say that I feel really sorry for Na'Vi, to be honest with you. I think all day we've had hard shifts away from them and their positioning. You know, this is the risk you play on edge, right? Is that you aren't necessarily going to have all these circles be kind to you, and you have to be prepared for these hardships. But they do move further away into highly populated areas, which makes rotational paths for Na'Vi so difficult. 4 rivals taking a few shots from Nextruya. Typical position for Nextruya on our angle. Looks like they've got themselves into a bit of a ditch here, which includes a few players from Damwon. It's never going to go well.
Out the next Ruya frying pan into the Damwon Gaming fire. It's just not going well here. Only one player standing, and he's taking tick damage as well. The shots across the way, has to hit the deck, has to heal up before you can even look for this res. And in the meantime, next Ruya are even taking fights with Enigma Galaxy all the way in Pmgc. Right now, guarding out on the south peak. We're going to pop those smokes and keep 4 rivals at 2.
Enigma Galaxy should be able to get themselves back up in action. And I will say right now, if there's any team to give credit for, it would be Enigma Galaxy. The huge improvement they've made since their inception, honestly, has been ridiculous. And getting here in the grand finals to 2nd place, massively well done. A team that's perfected Sandhawk. Frozen, though, looking to perfect these nade tosses over towards Damwon Gaming. Can't quite connect one as of yet. This is a very similar position that next year you're able to clutch it out versus A7, but this is not A7, but does it matter?
All Frozen pretty close to that nade, but it's not quite going to light him up properly. So now last standing for Damwon Gaming. After a couple of unfortunate turns for them, another long nade over towards Judy's going to see him bleed out. Another suppressing nade, a little bit too long there as next Ruya want to find more. Frozen put down, and Sung now half HP, has to move around the side. And against next Ruya's forefront will start to stand tall. But look at this, it's 4 rivals. They're back in the fight, and Sung may be having spoilers played at him. Kudo moves in, but not before Frozen gets flushed.
Yeah, there on his knees. Sung looking to find one more, but these ditches do prove a little bit tricky right now. Sung also to be aware that there could be a team, Epu in particular, that's going to cause him problems. Nice nade tries to do a little bit more damage, but it's not on target. Unsuspecting position there, right in the center. That's where you thought you would nade. So Sung goes for something a little bit atypical there. Won't quite find anything with it though. Not the nicest of teams to go up against. Quite the scary beast. Ooh. Godlike moves on next Ruya's position during that chaos. Really well done from these guys. Clutch God is on his knees, but the rest of the team is up and in position. Next Ruya was just split for far too long, and Godlike saw the opportunity and grasped it.
Oh, MVP candidate right now, order down. Mafioso wins out the trade, and Alpha 7 get a flank. Paraboy, second in the running for that MVP spot for Nova, does go down as well. So now it's just Jimmy and King. Revo moves up, and Cenatex is there around the side of the tree. Plenty of backup, and Alpha 7 picking apart Nova right now.
John, we asked this. Does Nova go down 16th? That's what's required to get Na'Vi into a better position. You know, it's starting off good for them at least with A7. Feeling a little bit more strong. Jimmy, the last remaining survivor, but 4 rivals just cannot hit the shots. Try as hard as they might.
Jimmy managed to make it into the next circle as well as it shifts southeast away from Alpha 7 and their new position that they hold. And Jimmy keeps on going. He's pretty close to Fenerbahce, but they don't have the angles. That hilltop will prove sanctuary for Jimmy right now.
I think this is something that Nova do very, very well, is just clear understandings of safe zones around the map, great compounds to play from, great compounds to win from. And that position right there just says it all to me, because this is a difficult position to broach for a lot of teams. Not many people are going to be rotating through there. It's not the best position in the world, but it does keep sightlines off you. A7's taking a fair few bits of hits in the distance from Na'Vi.
Oh, Meku goes down, and Cenetex around the side has to be on the swivel. Kitsune on the roll up, but low HP means that you have to play smart here for Alpha 7. The rest of the teammates not so lucky either up the hill. Na'Vi.
And looks here.
The good news for Na'Vi is that next Ruya are out before them and with less elimination points. That bumps that gap up from 1 point blank to 2. I know, it's impressive, but it is still something.
It is, exactly. I mean, that's better than nothing, right? Better than nothing. Looks like Nova will have to see themselves pretty for a little bit longer. How are they going to make this one work?
The roll-up.
I know, the roll-up's good.
From Godlike Sung. Oh, just about going to be able to make it in, I think. Unless he does go down to the blue, and I didn't quite catch it. But Pemperu still playing spoiler. S2G, look at the floor. What are you doing? Finally, Pemperu gets spotted, and Kelsey, oh, lucky with that drop shot, was absolutely on tenterhooks as to whether that would go through.
Yeah, there was no way Pemperu was escaping that one just like a fly in my kitchen after I opened the door. Looks like Godlike back on the cards, though, looking for a little bit more damage onto Furious Gaming, but they are floundering.
Oh dear, Neo forwards. Jonathan bleeding out. Zgod goes down on the forefront as well, and not really too much backup. And Neo standing behind the tree will get ticked down by this blue zone, so it's just Klotchgod versus the last player from Furious Gaming. Will find the knock, but you can't get that res. It's too far away. Grab some meds and see what you can do. Neo will fall. One player for around, but they won't really need to do too much. So the circle just about to close, and will send up northeast. Nigma Galaxy still holding that central area. 4 players alive. And by the way, Jimmy's still going all the way up into 7th, but no eliminations means that if he goes down soon, it won't be too many points, but it's still a massive gap to surmount if Nigma Galaxy don't pick up the chicken dinner here. Oh dear.
Nice little bobbler. It's Jimmy. Mello, though, will finish off that one player from 628 all on his lonesome now. This guy's the off-angle specialist for the Infinity. But you're right, though. Again, Nova refusing to go down any earlier than 8th place. It is kind of crazy, honestly. Nice nade from you, Yang. Banks it off the wall. Okay, simple geometry. I see how it is.
Absolutely. He's been studying his Suvat equations. He knows those arcs. And they are looking to push on in, but Rip7 not giving the game away just yet. Does get sprayed down finally and flushed out by Lord.
Was able to make it happen, but Stalwart still have hungry eyes towards this fight. Again, like I said, this is a Stalwart winning position. Fenerbahce still alive here. Great shots from Silas Pugh through the shack. Just a little bit of a gap there, but he makes it happen. Now, Stalwart still have to make their way in. Top's taking quite a bit of damage from the blue. They're able to get out of the way. Fenerbahce are just hoping that this circle heads over towards them, but some great shots from Noxbomb will start things off. Mustache Day's favorite player from this team. Looks like he's able to hit the shots too.
Nades over from Fenerbahce towards Stalwart as well. See them right there at the bottom of the tables. Every point matters, but they've already got a pretty decent jump on them. Already, the more they can get, the merrier, as action falls to a lovely long nade from Noxbomb.
These smokes are providing so much cover for Fenerbahce, allowing them just to throw the nades out, which they know are pretty good. One heads over towards the vehicle, not the same position. Good stuff from Stalwart to eliminate those angles for themselves, but S2G just taking out the vehicles, making Stalwart's push a little harder, but S2G, they're far out in this.
Claims some cover, but action breaks out into the open ground, allowing his team to have his back and moving in, trying to get some information. Top sends straight on forwards in the ghillie suit, but he's anything but stealthy right now. Forwards position and a lovely wide swing finds the shot that they were looking for. Scry falls as well as Pika and action left.
How did they not know he's here?
Rebellion falls to a nade, but only one player now for Stalwart as Rebellion's fallen. Nox look for more against Fenerbahce. This is the opportunity for S2G to come back swinging. 9 eliminations already on this game, and they are looking to put more on the board, Blank.
Unreal plays from S2G, and it feels like they've truly pulled the pin here, especially with the amount of nades that are going off. Honestly, a hard push for S2G, but they made it work regardless. Stalwart's not going to be happy about this. This was their chance to move up the rankings towards the top, and they've been taken out early, not even a second place for them.
They do get 8 elims in a 3rd place, though, so a really decent point-scoring game for them. That adds up to 18 points, Blank, with the 10 placements that they were able to get. So hopefully a little bit closer to those money spots.
136 total there after this game. It's pretty
unresable. Fenerbahce have that reservation, that lip to play around that gives them a little bit of cover. Silas, oh, he's been spotted. He has to stand up, looks for the fight. Rebellion looking to win it out. Nox as well with the backup. 2 players now standing for S2G as Fenerbahce have 3 against the open ground crawling snakes.
Kelsey, who has had an unbelievable game so far with the nades, with the shots, now really has to bring it all to bear in these final moments versus Fenerbahce. These smokes are far forward too, so eliminating a lot of this crossfire that could have been able from Timber and Kelsey themselves.
Kelsey has the rock, and the circle shifts out northeast towards Fenerbahce's ridgeline. Rebellion goes down to Timber, and they even the numbers with a quick flush, but Timber takes a tickle. It's burned up a little bit, but still has more in the cooker. Kelsey with a lane up on high towards Noxbomb, looking for anything that they can find, but no one really giving ground at the moment. S2G, though, impetus on them to move in.
Just keeping it safe, keeping it calm for the time being. They need this extra knock. Timber has kept them in it for a little bit longer. That beautiful little...
They get a little bit more. Moves out wide. Does Timber know? It is a lineup, you're right. But Timber, is he going to be spotted here? He knows Kelsey's there. Looks for Timber, but he moves out of the way. An excellent stand-up, and it's S2G out in the field to take care of Fenerbahce and send themselves up towards the middle of those tables. Excellent. The middle of those tables. Excellent result.
Timber really was the king of those final moments, being as solid as mahogany there for the rest of the team, because Christ alive, that stand-up and the sidestep left Nox baffled. A great game, really interesting. Nigma Galaxy able to get a fair few.
Surely move up the rankings. They are currently looking to go for that 4th place and finally overtaking the side of Nextria and Infinity.
A player that we also have to give credit to from Nova, I was mentioning him, it's going to be Jimmy. He was able to survive that fight between Alpha 7. He was actually able to get him some extra placement points. And I think it goes to show, even though he...
Quite a few of these teams. Nova at 96, next closest is 78, and then from there on it goes down to 65. But you look at Nigma Galaxy at 41, they have the 3rd least amount of eliminations in the entire lobby, and yet are ranked
to improve throughout the year as well. S2G had an amazing performance when we talk about the West. They dominated a Super Weekend. They dominated so much that they were able to literally just play a Super Weekend and not really try hard. They were able to just try different stuff. Hopefully that's a learning experience for them, right? Maybe they would have been able, maybe they should have just continued on to that domination, continue to what was working and not try something new. But once we get here, this is kind of what you were talking about earlier too, Max. When you go to a region, if you're dominated on a region, I'm thinking of Alpha 7, I'm thinking of Godlike, and once you show up to the globals, you have to be able to adjust, and you have to be able to adjust right away.
Especially if it's your first time playing on this level, right? You must come into it like the first day. I don't expect you to do great, but you're going to use that as a great learning experience, adapt to what's not been going right, and hopefully it'll be going well for you at some point in time. Though in this game, I really enjoyed what we were doing. We saw the clips just a few seconds ago, where they were playing onto the more western hillside. And what that allows you to do is to make sure you're going to clear every single team coming in from Pmgc Hill. I believe we had Nova at one point, we had also Alpha 7, you had also Na'Vi, and you're just making sure you're keeping control of those teams, knowing exactly how they're going to rotate in, and then if you get rid of all those teams, you're never going to have to take care of what team's trying to enter from the west, and you can just 100% put your focus on 180 degrees of view right in front of you as you're trying to enter the circle. That is why they had such a good advantage, because in this fight in particular, they could put 100% of their focus on the Enigma Galaxy, and they knew as a fact no one was ever going to push that position because the fight was happening on the other side of the circle, and that's why they were able to get so much control at the end, was that huge split, because they just made sure the west was completely free.
Yeah, and going back to Silas on that play right there, I love the usage of that Molly, right? Making sure that you are able to actually finish off those elims. Every elim is going to count a point, and right now there are that team that currently needs those points. We see Timber right here being able to take the initiative to be the aggressive player, and we have seen how well that has worked for Nova. So hopefully, this is what I'm hoping for, Max. I'm hoping a lot of teams look at what Nova was able to do. Look how they were able to surprise a lot of teams. We talked about it earlier. When they had to be defensive, they were not defensive. They were able to just throw off some of the other teams by being the aggressive team, and I'm hoping a lot of teams will be able to learn from this, as we're able to see there from Timber.
Yeah, I mean, Nova is just a team that literally throw anything their way, they'll be able to make something work and come from it every time. And that's why the adaptability is so strong in this tournament, because even if they're playing edge, even if they're playing center, and we typically thought, right, they were going to be playing full center, here they're playing edge when the circle is not to their advantage, and they play it well when it's not even their main playstyle, which is so impressive. So if you can adapt every single time on these type of circles, you're going to be world champion eventually.
Yeah, world champion eventually. Obviously, you have more years to come. I'm curious, though, to see, and I'm getting ahead of myself here, can Nova do it 3 times? I mean, they haven't done it twice just yet, but there is a world where they could
Not going to be enough stars on their, like, space on their jersey to put multiple stars.
That's true. That's true. I don't think we have any money left to give them, because maybe they can provide they can provide all the money for next year's prize pool, how much they've won throughout the last 2 years. But we still have a lot of teams, you know, contesting for these positions. We still have 2 matches left to come, but they are going to be happening on the other side of a break. So make sure you guys don't go anywhere. 2 matches left to go until we can crown our champion.
That's what you absolutely need to do here. And if you give up those positions, someone's going to take it. Down 1 coming up on Godlike's position. There is a fair few players behind them. Butchgod already goes down, though.
Oh, they're trading 1 for 1. Junie spraying around on the swivel, and Godlike fall of the hurdle. Down 1 Gaming only have 1 knock as well. Excellent hold there, excellent position.
Very, I would imagine, typically what happened for Rivals, but maybe it'll change. Yetka goes down, Frozen finds the high ground, and once again, this man clutches it when no one else can. I think feel a little bit more comfortable to start moving down this hillside soon.
Uh-oh, Godlike, they're still fighting. They find 1 Scry off the back of Action's buggy, and Action on the broadside of this hill. Not really sure what you were trying to get done there. It's such a difficult rotate, sure, but
Nova, though, is no easy task ahead of them.
3 players alive for Nova, and that's a great way to start, but that's given back twice as much as they got. An excellent nade from Kadur to see 2 down and leave Order all alone.
Oh my god!
It's nades everywhere! 1 more as well, and Order steps up big for Nova. Just Kadur, the nade man himself, gets a taste of his own medicine, and it's Nova to snatch it back. Next Ruya take a tumble, and Nova put themselves on top, the defending champions, Stantor.
King 1000% the thief here of this game. We see Ord in the front line doing a little hop in, trying to get that intel, cooking that grenade. Rebo just chilling in the back seat. Order said goodbye with that grenade. Order, once again, back-to-back games, dominating.
Here we go. Last 2 games until we do have our champion. And right now, Nova, I pretty much want to say they're like one decent result game away from closing things out and locking down that $1.5 million out of $6 million in our prize pool. Jason Kaplan, Maxman, 7 Worlds Gaming. So we're going to be covering the last 2 games. Well, hopefully none of us get replaced here in the last few, because that'd be a little bit awkward.
Why you were looking at me when you said that?
I was looking at both of you, to be fair. Because I'm going to fight for you so you don't get replaced. But we do actually, speaking of replacing, if I'm not mistaken, Max, you did mention that Godlike are going to be subbing a player into this game.
Yeah, I think it's Sunrush they're going to be bringing in onto this game. So you know what? Why not get some experience right now? You know, it's going to be hard to move away from those bottom positions right now for your team. So there's no other way to replicate what's happening here. You could do scrims, you could do PMPLs, you could do whatever event or whatever's going to happen in the structure for India. You're not going to be able to replicate and have such experience versus international teams. So bring it in. You know, have a little bit of fun.
I want to see that Maxman curse. He comes out, he drops 10 eliminations, first match in PMGC, and then we're like, well, why did they use him the whole time? But we do have Miramar coming up next.
We do, and I'm going to be looking at 628. This is a team that has been very consistent when it comes to Miramar. They've been able to get a chicken dinner with 16 ilms. They've been able to get a chicken dinner already today with 10 ilms. And I feel like if they're going to try to make a push for that second place, they might be able to do it here in this match, because the difference right now between themselves and second place is about 15 points. And I feel like that's something that we need to start taking a closer look at. Between second place and 8th place, the difference is 17 points. That is just one chicken dinner, a couple kills. I'm looking at Enigma Galaxy. They really haven't been able to get the ilms right. They really haven't been able to capitalize when they're supposed to capitalize. And these teams at the bottom that are within that edge, within those 17 points, might be able to capitalize when they're not able to.
It's so cool because actually 6-8 could very easily make it in our top 3. No, they're just one decent, not even just a decent game, just an average game. If the top teams are not able to perform, and we've been talking about it, right? 2nd, 3rd, 4th place, they're kind of throwing 7, I have the impression. Yeah. So there's a clear opportunity for teams that were on the bottom of that first page to jump up, get an extra 100,000 or such in terms of prize pool in these last few games. So these are super important, not for first place, but that top 3 could be completely different between now and after our next 2 games.
Yep. I mean, that pressure initially started for those teams at the beginning of the day was, can they catch Nova? Now it's become, can they just hold their position, right? Can they just hold off the other teams? And obviously, as we get into our teams to watch, we can maybe talk about that a little bit. For me, I mentioned before the break, Xavier. That's going to be my team to watch because, again, they've been super silent, but they've been deadly. And they've been slowly climbing up those leaderboards and eliminations, some decent placement points. And I was kind of critical, about them coming in from Vietnam just because we didn't really see them much in league stage. And then in the finals, they're able to get 2nd place overall. This team definitely surprised us, and it seems to be these smaller format tournaments, which is 3 days of play, is where they excel.
Yeah, exactly. Xavier, especially, I remember back in the World League, World Invitation, where they surprised us. And we did not expect them to perform that well. And they did at the very end, but it's just I want to see a little bit more continuity from tournament to tournament. I think they can do so, especially performing this well in the tournament. For my pick, personally, I'm going to go with Nova. We've been alluding to them, getting that really good game and just being impossible to take over. So I think it's going to happen.
Why eventually. Are they the team to watch for you?
Because I team to watch / potentially going to get a win. It's just because
I like how he says. Yes, I like how he says potentially a team that's going to win when we move away from who he predicts going to win, because he's been right a couple of times now in this event.
It's actually weird. I have the impression my curse is going lower. Probably because Zute is doing a viewer party, so he's probably just helping me out. I just don't look that bad.
That, man, 7. What about you? I think you mentioned STE before?
Yes. Yeah, that's the one I'm going to go with. I got to go with 628 just because of the reason why I talked about. Consistency with Miramar. They're with that team right now that can strike. And if they are able to take advantage of this last Miramar, they could move themselves to that 2nd place. At the moment, I don't see Enigma Galaxy showing me anything different than they have already shown me. Yes, they are able to get those placement points. Right now, they're just barely getting away with it. But if any of the other teams currently between that 2nd and 8th place, if any of those teams are able to have a pop-off match, it's going to be looking very bad for Enigma Galaxy. So that's why I'm going with 628.
I think for 628, they're trying to prove to everyone that they kind of deserve to be here, right? Yep. With them qualifying in the very last match. The penultimate game of the entire year of play here at PMGC. Let's throw it on over to our commentators once again. John out of the lane.
We are once more, for the last time, of the 2021 season for PUBG Mobile Esports into Miramar. The desert inhospitable as ever as we take our plane on the south side.
Looking at what Seven said on the desk, yes, 6-8 have happened an absolute rocker here on Miramar. 15 average points here, which is pretty unbelievable, to be quite honest with you. In Sandhawk, it's more typical to see those ridiculous numbers because you're only having them 2 times before you see the final one in the PMGC Grand Finals. But here on Miramar, we're playing a lot more often, having 15 points average. Goodness me, that is good. Plays for Na'Vi, start picking up some points. You know, I do think right now, first place is out of the picture. Nova's taken that one home, and Na'Vi, this is all about taking that second place spot. Don't go home disappointed. They've held it for so long this tournament. Now's the time.
Trying to push up, get into that second place spot, but on the flip side, Enigma Galaxy, they've been holding on here on their second place spot. They are currently on 146 points, 9 points ahead of Na'Vi on 137. So Miramar hoping to pick up more points, but Na'Vi, the strongest of that top bunch on Miramar, 11.8 average.
Oh no, this is so depressing though. As we see the circle come on our screen, Na'Vi have just not had a good time of it so far in the PMGC when it comes to circles, knowing that these guys tend to drop up to La Cobreria. Having this plane fire dropping down towards the south side of the map, they're going to be kicking themselves here, John, because there was a potential to drop out early, do something similar to what A7's doing right now and heading up towards El Pozo and round the side. It could not be more rough for this team, but they're good on Miramar. Hopefully, they're able to recontrol this situation, re-establish themselves on the map.
And looking at Enigma Galaxy's position as well, in Playa de Mar, there's no one really to their north side that is going to be super strong holding them right now. Alpha 7 might stop off in El Pozo, but you can imagine they're going to send up all the way to the north. So that's where the main challenge for Enigma Galaxy is going to come. Na'Vi's behind everybody else in the queue, and Nova is on the north side of this peloton, this central reservation of players in Minas Generalis as well. So they can send up north towards even Cruz de Valle or towards Water Treatment Hills to try and get a foothold there. But the path ahead for Na'Vi will prove to be a test for them. But Blank, if they make it, I feel like it's got to be one of the strongest performances we've seen from this team and from any team in this tournament.
Absolutely. I think that, you know, obviously not accounting for Nova, who have all but secured their 1.5 mil. Honestly, yeah, Na'Vi's had a really good run of it. And I think that they've shored up a lot of problems that they've had before. Now, Stalwart were looking meek yesterday. Today, looking a little bit more like they've got a couple of fangs on them, which is good to see, considering that Stalwart, you know, really a pick from us that we thought, you know what, this could be a good team. Like, we've got a little bit of confidence coming into them from East League finals, and then they come over to the grand finals. It's just a little bit of a drop off on day two. Another different team. And it's very, very weird to watch it because, you know, knowing that a team can do so well and then performing a whole day on a different caliber to come into the next day and performing at a much better caliber. So strange to me. So strange. But it has placed them in 4th place, John.
You've got sort of sinusoidal feelings towards this team. They keep going up and down and never really converging to a point. There is no limit when it comes to their approach towards infinity. We're close by as well, 1 point underneath them, 135 right now, and only 2 points separate them between that and Na'Vi, not to mention next Ruya on 135. Oh my God, it's just so the top of this table, honestly. It's kind of wild. I'll tell you what I do want though, is a compilation of times you've said, I'm not fans of Stalwart, or I am fans of Stalwart, just lined up next to each other, and see how many times that's happened. If anyone out there, an aspiring video editor perhaps, then I'd love to see it.
I'll just throw it up. I'm a fan of Stalwart today. I'll just throw it up. just for the gigs. Yeah, honestly,
I'll check next game as well.
Yeah, we'll check next game. Yeah, you're right though. The rankings are tighter than a yoga store right now because the points difference between these teams unbelievable. I'm a little bit astonished that we are having this on the final day. Goodness me, S2G able to hit that shot.
I mean, they've taken down one spot on the tables, and now they're trying to take their lives as well on the northern side of this circle, trying to stop Down One Gaming from getting anywhere in these tables. And again, it's another knockover towards Forest. Kelsey with the M249, 28 bullets left in the magazine and looking to pop the heel as well. Fabian in the buildings. We know Down One have strong crossfires, but when there's only one player, that ain't no crossfire. In through the window, and it's dealt with handily. Kelsey sees to it that Down One go down in 16th.
16th place penultimate game, sat in 10th place. This team has been drifting ever so sadly down towards the bottom of the tables. Started out fairly strong, were looking good, able to keep some of that momentum from the East League finals, but they have hit mud. And it has just been the wheels are spinning, but not going anywhere here. Still, this Northern shift, still just as nasty as when I first saw it, honestly. A lot of these teams trying to make their way up on the eastern side. You got Furious Gaming, Fenerbahce, as well as DXavier, typically in El Azahar. Stalwart really haven't had to move too much, though. They were in a really nice position at the beginning of this game. Let's check in with Na'Vi, all the way down in the south. They haven't moved an inch.
Not yet, but this might prove to be to their advantage, right? You let players, especially in Miramar, if you're getting that scouting information, you're getting those rotations out on the side, I feel like sweeping on Miramar is fairly effective, and you know that's reflected in those average points on Miramar for this map. Nova not even able to outperform Na'Vi on this map just yet. I think Na'Vi were what third best on this map currently, so we'll have to see if they're able to put that money where their mouth is.
Look at Enigma, and you're likely to get caught, but I think a lot of teams are far too concentrated right now with actually finding a central position with high ground that's elevated, right? You know, you're looking for a position to start taking a little bit of information, finding those other teams within the lobby, and then being able to, from there, actually position yourself up in the late game. So I think there is a lot of focus on the mid here, less focus on the edge.
That might play into their ballpark. Court, side, game. I'm not sure which metaphor we'll end up landing on, but
a lot of
Na'Vi,
balls.
Oh, certainly. And they are
from all these teams
difficult to control right now. Certainly a tough task ahead, and a nerve-wracking one as well. Such a central cluster right now in the middle of this next circle. And you've got about, what is this, 3 teams really that are disparate from one another. Enigma Galaxy all the way out to the west of El Pozo right now. They're out in the blue on the western side. Down towards the south, you've got 628 as well, just leaving from the north side of Los Leones. And Na'Vi skirting around the east side of Los Leones as well, looking to move east of La Bendita.
628 already picked up one of the gifties from Fenerbahce. Usually getting like 1 to 4 from them. Feels like, you know, at the beginning of the game, it's like, well, how many will we get? Let's roll the dice here. It's a 4-sided dice, by the way. They're not re-rolling. But yeah, the Fenerbahce usually just offers themselves up to 6-2 at the beginning of the game, which usually turns into a bit of a thunderstorm from there. But luckily, 6-2-8, they're far away from the circle, so we'll be able to start getting anything on just yet. But the lightning does start to strike as we will get this next circle, which is closer to 6-2-8, and they can start to play on that hilltop towards San Martin, which is actually really nice.
On that San Martin hilltop. Nova with their compound out to the east of water treatment right now. Fairly close to S2G. They're going to have DXavier pushing in behind them. Team Secret for Fenerbahce, as well as Furious Gaming, and potentially even Na'Vi going to be behind them. Can they break that wave is the question.
Looking towards the center here, John. 4 rivals right in the middle. You know, Maxman and I both know that that's probably going to be where they'll stay for the next 10 minutes or so. But we'll check back in. Infinity, on the other hand, having a pretty decent game there on Sandhawk, and really honestly was played into their hands that they're a north side team, and it's been a while since we've had that such northern shift, and they're able to just kind of mosey on in, find a compound. But I do think the Infinity bringing it back just a little bit. 5th place right now, 135 points. Real opportunity. And we haven't really been able to talk too much about this team other than to say 5 to 146 to 2nd place. You know, very doable for the Infinity to shoot themselves to 2nd place despite their performance so far.
They're sort of they're doing what Nova's doing, but just not quite as well, right? And it's not paid off for them in the same way, but they are still very much, as you say, in that conversation. They like that central position. They like that play style, getting in, getting those spots. and they'll find any way to do it, but just not quite as effectively as Nova.
No, exactly. Now, just quickly though, to get on that point of Nova, right? Everyone at home who is listening right now and might be thinking, why are we not talking too much about Nova? It's because, you know, it hasn't been the hardest of journeys for them. They've made it look so easy that it's kind of just drifted by. And I think that is one of the craziest things to me. So by all means, I think everyone here, including, you know, Jason, Seven, Max, Mustache Dave, Necro, here on the English panel, right? We all believe that Nova is an unbelievably, astonishingly skilled team, right?
I mean, it is, as one of my favorite sayings, Blank, it's mathematically possible, but mathematically improbable that that's going to happen. It's just so unlikely that it's not even really worth paying attention to. So it is that battle for those money spots, right? Second place down, even all the way to 7th, 8th even. DXavier in with a chance of jumping on up. They're on 129 points right now, and Na'Vi are on 137. That's a gap of 8 points.
Absolutely, and it is crazy right now because it's so volatile in that midst of that second place downwards. So these last games are going to be incredibly intense. We're not really sure who's going to end up on top here. Anyone could. Everyone has the chops on them to make it happen. Furious Gaming will take down one of the players from Fenerbahce. They also look over towards Na'Vi, and Tixie's having none of it.
Such an unfortunate rotation for Na'Vi. It's well principled. I mean, they swung out to the north on a southern plane path. They know everyone's moving north, but they're greeted with about 4 teams in their vicinity. Luckily for them, they're pretty bloody good, and they're going to be able to take care of those forward outposts and try and move in a little bit further towards the south. But they've got Team Secret and Xavier ahead of them.
I love this from the Infinity, right? These are very similar compounds that they usually play, and they know where 628 comes from, so they're ready to battle them away before they're even able to third-party any of the fights that do happen. DXavier coming up against Team Secret, but it's Godlike off in the distance, taking some shots towards them. Down to 2 players in Clutch God, as well as Jonathan. So unfortunately, Samaraj was really not in the game for very long. Unfortunately, Max won't be getting too much of that experience. Experience of dying, I guess.
I mean, you get to watch and listen to the comms. I mean, it's
I feel like he's been doing that. He's been doing that a while. Then again, Samaraj, very well-known IGL, so could be playing that attack role, which is, you know, just sit in the back, give the information, be the puppet master that everybody needs. But we'll see how it goes down. Godlike's still down to 2, not the best thing in the world. 14th place. I'd love to see them set up towards 10th, 11th. I don't know how likely that's going to be. But again, those points, not super hard to get on board, but it does require some big points. And with only 2 on Miramar, not likely to happen here.
Na'Vi slowly picking apart Furious Gaming, dismantling the Pride on the northern side. Picking up more and more points in the process. Elimination starting to go their way. 2 players down on the outside.
Reliability to the team. I think that it's a long while where Rabbiz felt like he would do something tragic and the rest of the team would suffer for it. But I think in the PMGC Grand Finals, Rabbiz has really stepped up and is becoming one of these players that feels like, you know, DXavier can now rely on him and lean on him a lot more. And to be able to do that from East League Finals into the Grand Finals itself over such a short amount of time, you know, well done. Hats off to that guy.
Na'Vi looking to push up here. They know they need big points. And I mean, they don't really have too many options other than fighting through this northern side. The next shift just about to come through. And for once, it's a little bit kind to Na'Vi. It plays to their hillside that they're currently fighting for.
Yeah, this is phenomenal from Na'Vi. What a difficult rotation for them to make. You can see all the teams on your screen that they've had to slip past in stealth, you know, ninja style, and somehow they've managed to make it work and get to this north side. Circle pays off as well, moving up towards them. But it's DXavier rocking up on A7's position.
Alpha 7 with the fall off over the course of this tournament in the penultimate game, looking to take the fight with DXavier. And they don't really have too many choices about it. Rabis goes down, so does Frankie, but Carrillo's burning now with a nicely placed Molotov. Mafioso low, half, ducked down on the outside, just Lamborghini against 3 for Alpha 7, but he has the health advantage, looking for nades, looking for presence. Revo looks to try and shut him down, get that information. Nade over the top, not going to find it, but a nade in through the window. Burns down Rabbits. There's the Molotov, suppressing the top of that staircase. Will burn Lamborghini a little bit as well. The heals started to come through, and Alpha 7 want to keep this one going. They're getting the res as well, and Lamborghini forced out by the nade, and it will not be good enough. DXavier take the tumble, and Alpha 7 not out of it yet.
Very well done to Alpha 7 there to rebuff that crash onto them. Really good use of Molotovs, and I think they're able to keep the majority of their players alive. If I'm not wrong, yeah, all 4 players still up. Nova, though, really not a care in the world, but Furious Gaming will take down 1 in Paraboy. Just a knock, though, nothing else just yet. It's just Tigers in on his own, though.
Jimmy on the outpost. They know what's up, but takes a couple of shots his way, and Tigers in doesn't take any damage in response. Team Secret will be able to hear this as well, so they're going to have eyes on downhill from their high ground position as well. Nova might struggle. Doesn't have any more first aids, though, does our Tigers in. Furious Gaming might have just given up the ghost, but he finds another on King. Goodness me, Paraboy finally slows him down, but Nova, they've been slowed down themselves, and looking for those reses, he's going to put a dampener on proceedings, and Team Secret can get ahead.
You know, I think we've talked a lot about Order as well as Paraboy many times, and I think that, you know, looking at this, it's so unfortunate King goes down there again to the play zone. They can't get him back up again just because of 1 player. I think the Death touched on this as like, when will it be Jimmy's year? And I think this year is Jimmy's year. His approach to IGLing has been unbelievable. The positions they've been taking this entire time, you've got to imagine that a lot of this comes down to Jimmy making the final call. So I really do appreciate this 1 player on the team. Not to mention, he made some big plays in East League finals as well to get here. He is in the bus right now.
From their fight earlier with DXavier in the compound, are going to fend off Nova's push for now. Still 1 more to come in. Order makes the way with the UAS. The spray's good, and the vehicle goes up in flames. Order taken out of the mix.
Yeah, good stuff from him. Na'Vi have eyes onto this one, though, and if only they knew it was Nova here earlier on in the tournament, maybe they'd come and grab them. But right now, it's not really worth it. For them, it's all about picking up those points, solidifying that 2nd place. And realistically, you know, Enigma Galaxy also still a major problem. They have a good position within the circle so far, but with this next shift, it pushes them out slightly. They still have compound control, though.
This is very good news for Na'Vi, actually, because no teams that are close to challenging. I mean, Enigma Galaxy, they're in a compound, but there's teams looking their way. No other teams challenging for those top spots are really in for the fight, but next Ruya, they are challenging out right now, very close by to S2G. 1 player down already, and Frozen, we know how efficacious he can be. Kelsey looks to deal with it, looks for more as well. He's the butcher of next Ruya right now, but Nihat finally puts him back. And it will be 2 players surviving from next Ruya on the southeast side, behind Alpha 7, behind Nova for the circle.
I will say that actual fight there was fairly clumsy, to be quite frank with you. Final moments for Rivals, once again, they are going down. This is the time for them to move, you know, 20 minutes, so it's only likely that they get taken out. Unfortunately, 628, still pumping along, though. 3 players on that southern edge, still keeping it going. 628. You know, they're happy. Stalwart, on the other hand, who had a very central position earlier on, they're still trying to push their way in. Final player from Godlike will go down. The Infinity picking that one up. Goodness me.
Unfortunate there, but Nova, again, find themselves in a central position. Enigma Galaxy gonna have to leave their stronghold, but I feel like if Na'Vi can control the hill in front of them, they might...
Just picking apart these vehicles.
6 elims already on the game. Alpha 7, they're doing all right here on Miramar. They're doing all right, but is all right enough? As the Infinity are going to go down. Only 2 elims to their name right now. Currently in 5th, but very much in danger of losing that.
Absolutely. I don't want to drop over. I mean, 5th place is kind of where that money stays green. Going lower, it starts to fade away, so fifth place is something you want to hold on to, and the Infinity going out there really gives opportunities to other teams, even just Stalwart, if they can stay alive for a little bit longer. Paraboy drops a one onto Nihat. It's Yetka. Managed to find his way in, doesn't matter. As Fenerbahce spots him out.
But Na'Vi get the circle going their way as well on the northwestern shift. It's going to be under their purview, under their control right now. If they play it right, they have a golden opportunity, or rather a green opportunity, to jump up those spots for the money. 6 elims already on the game, and the northwestern shift brings Enigma Galaxy towards them.
Yeah, big point numbers here are required from Na'Vi. They have a few elimination points on the cards for this game, so it's fairly good for them. Enigma Galaxy, basically their biggest opposition here. If they can get rid of them here nice and early on, round 5th place, it's not going to be the worst thing in the world. Remember, they are catching up to them right now, and it looks like they have eyes on.
Nova trying to deal with the Alpha 7 threat behind them, but Enigma Galaxy will have vision. Team Secret pushing into the back now of Na'Vi and Meku. First to face. Fredo low already and is on the outside. Jumper with him on the backup. Alpha 7 make their crash in the meantime as they push up towards Paraboy and Jimmy. A duo that's been together since Berlin. And Paraboy will face first, find the first frag as well, and get a second on the spray down. An excellent swivel as Jimmy's there for the backup. It's not going to matter though, because Carrillo's handled it, and it's going to be Nova falling down to a push. The duo will not stand tall. And it is going to be Nova eliminated, but it's really not going to matter too much. I'm focused more blank on Enigma Galaxy and Na'Vi.
Kind of crazy stuff there from Paraboy. Regardless, like you said, we are now locked in with this position over here. Seeing how this one does unfold. Team Secret going to push down towards this south side of the map, drop directly on the east. Na'Vi continues to hold these hilltops. Right now, they're being pressured just by 2 players, and that's worrying to me.
Currently 3 points separate Na'Vi and Enigma Galaxy, with these elimination points included. If one of these teams goes down here, that's 2 of those points in just placement jumps. And an elimination might be able to close that gap more for Na'Vi. Team Secret, they're going down to Alpha 7. All 4 of them still alive, by the way, Blank.
A7 will face Enigma Galaxy. This might be time for Na'Vi to try and move in here, pick up a little bit more damage, but Enigma Galaxy should get a huge
time. They even pick up one for themselves, and it's Matic to find the shots onto Freak as well, looking for the spray down on the flush. Ralph ducked back behind the land, and Lord on the forefront for Enigma Galaxy is the only real foothold they have. Look at these swung out wide positions for Kitsune, for Tixi as well on the forefront, looking to get that healing off. 3 players for Enigma Galaxy.
Kitsune, like you said, on the off angle. He's great at this. He's great at getting in position. Hamodi looks up. Molotov to prevent the push from coming through a little bit too quickly. The heat to bring the freeze on the fight.
Ralph knocked in the sidelines as well as Tixi operates from behind the shack. Meku with the high ground, and Matic as well now providing another off angle. Meku spotted, will be dispatched in the meantime, but Na'Vi again providing an excellent coverage of this next circle, and Kitsune's on his 2 legs again, going out wide. Matic, Tixi on the forefront, dealing with Lord and Hamodi, but look at Kitsune, look at the sideswipe. It's Lord in the crosshairs, but Hamodi goes down first, and now it's just Lord. Na'Vi looking to stand up, take that second place. It's a battle that's worth $300,000, and blank, Na'Vi just took the lead.
That is big right now. $600,000, like you said, claimed by Na'Vi until the end of the tournament, when it will all be decided. Enigma Galaxy has to have a great game now on a angle to potentially even bring it back. But Kitsune, the Fox himself, was hunting in those final moments. And Na'Vi finally get thrown a bone.
Goodness me, the shifts go their way for once, and with a great elimination total, they are taking it home as well. They are looking good now. They are in a strong spot with 1 game left to play. I'm pretty sure they just leapfrogged Enigma Galaxy on those performances. Sure, they got an extra flush and Kane in that second place, and it will be close, but they have made it a 2-horse race.
Scary. Very, very scary indeed. There is potential for maybe a crazy jump up in this last game, so you got to stick around for that one, because honestly, that last game, despite Nova being so far ahead of anyone else, that last game, so many things could change, so many interchangeable components in those final moments.
And Nova got pretty far as well in that game. So just keeping on adding to those tallies, adding to that buffer that already exists.
Yeah.
An excellent run from them. But it's Na'Vi with a shout towards the end. One more innings left. Can they hold on to that second place?
Well, that is going to be the $900,000 question, or $600,000 question. It's going to be a lot of questions happening here into this final match, but one question I can answer is how well Na'Vi and Enigma Galaxy played there, getting top 2 in that respective for both teams. The question is, why didn't they do this earlier? Why weren't they able to maintain themselves in this kind of position before? Because they could have already solidified things. And they also maybe been able to catch up to Nova.
Yeah, if they started like that, especially, I mean, Enigma Galaxy started the tournament really well with 2 second places, and Chicken Dinner fell off at the end of that first day. But Na'Vi in particular, if they played like they've been doing in these last 2 days on day 1, they would be like on a way closer call to that first position versus Nova. But it unfortunately took a little bit too long for them to try and get started. But their rotation early game, especially going for the wide rotate up north to get that entry point, because not many teams dropped there. That was an instant play early on to try and go for that Chicken Dinner, and they just played it super well at the end.
I think one of the positives, especially with Na'Vi, that they have showcased us throughout this whole tournament is that they have been able to carry momentum after they get a Chicken Dinner, especially during the second day. They were able to carry a lot of that momentum. So this is going to be a big plus, being able to get this Chicken Dinner, not just any Chicken Dinner, as well with 11 Ilims. We heard Blank saying maybe Enigma Galaxy is going to be able to get some Ilims. Well, guess what? We got a little bit of an improvement here. That we're able to get 6. I think that might be tied up there with some of their most Ilims as well. And a big surprise for me here, Max, is going to be Alpha 7. We finally saw the aggression from Alpha 7 that I've been expecting. It's definitely a little bit too late for me, but for
these top 5 results, they were able to get one right here. If they can try and find some good close on that final game, that will be huge. But looking over to the stats here, you talked about, I believe it was Lord at the start of the show. Modi every once in a while gets some really good stats. It's very impressive, and he in particular really helped Enigma Galaxy solidify that position on the cliffside.
Yeah, I mean, with Lord, he was just the most consistent player for the first 2 days. It is good to see how many there, as we do see 207. Let's go, Nova. I'm really liking that 7 there.
207? That's 207 points.
Between first and second.
Can I get back to you in like 2-3 business days?
I like to use a lifeline here. I like to call a friend. Jason? Oh, sorry, we're not friends. 43 points between Nova and Enigma Galaxy. So do you see here, Na'Vi actually not taking second place at the moment. They have passed next Rio, but we see a 1 point difference between second and third. And then there is a slight drop-off of about 22 points between third and fourth place. So a lot of teams here still in reach, technically. There's also still a lot of movement to be had here between 4th through 8th. Actually, 4th through 10th, there's a lot of movement that can happen off one match alone.
Yeah. And nobody's safe, right? We've seen it with Enigma Galaxy. Nova's definitely safe. I mean,
I think they're fine, yeah.
There's no doubt
you
between them.
You can't lose points unless you're me in my math exams. I think they're fine.
Yeah. But going back to what I was trying to say, with Enigma Galaxy, we've seen that they just have kind of died down in certain games. So that is a big question mark, right? And the difference between 2nd and 8th place, which I'm going to just put that out there, Alpha 7 being there in 8th place, they might be able to somehow push at least towards the top 3. And that is a huge difference. 2nd place is going to get $630,000. And when you go to 8th place, $67,000. So if you're able to, for some reason, make that big jump up, that's going to be a difference of $563,000. And boy, I would definitely want that difference.
I think Alpha 7 might be a little bit too far. Unless they get like a huge how many points would they even require right there? I think they'll need to get a Chicken Dinner, of course. He puts
himself on the spot.
I know, he was going to try to do the math.
They'd have to get a Chicken Dinner, was what I would say, 15 eliminations, potentially minimum.
The thing is, they are capable of, and that's kind of why I was hinting at with Enigma Galaxy, they could get kicked out super early. They could end up with just 0 points, which could make it. But then you have to worry about Na'Vi. Then you have to worry about some of the other teams, and especially going back to with Na'Vi, they just got the Chicken Dinner. They might be able to carry that momentum.
I would hope so. I feel like, though, I'm a little bit worried because I feel like we've seen so many times where teams will get a Chicken Dinner, go into the next match, 0 points, right? And there is only like a 1 point difference between them and second place, and that's tough, right? They realize we cannot really afford to go out. I mean, technically they can afford to go out, but the fact is they win so much more money just staying alive. And speaking of just staying alive, I feel like we have seen a change actually in the mentality of how some of these teams have been playing in 2nd through 4th place. I feel like they've been playing a lot more passive here because they realize, okay, well, it's not about for first anymore. We can't obtain that. but it is a battle for second place. So we need to be very careful about how we do anything here.
I think the perfect way to describe what was happening exactly in teams going a little bit more passive is that Na'Vi rotation I mentioned, right? They just don't typically go for these wide rotates to find entry points. They're straight to the point when it comes to their rotation for Na'Vi. But here, going to play super passive and play for placement. And from what we've seen in these last few games, placement points tend to be a little bit more important on these last games.
Yeah, and with Navi, I feel like it's going to come down to the playing path, especially as we go into Aaron Kill, right? We have seen the shift that they made when we go to George. They end up now landing towards South George. But I have noticed that when they actually decide to land military, that works out wonders for them. So I'm wondering if they're going to just go back to that strategy of landing in military, playing it a little bit more safe, playing for those placement points, and then trying to third-party some of the teams that might be getting into engagements.
I mean, the thing is, if they do go military, I know there's one team out there that actually will eventually be my team to watch when we get to it. The Infinity. I mean, I kind of put them on a pedestal for me when it came to league stage. I pretty much predicted them to win almost every single time, though I did change things once in a while. They've been slowly and silently moving up the leaderboards as well, and they're still technically in striking distance from catching quite a few of these teams. So realistically, any team in what, like I were saying, like 2nd through 8th place, I guess technically like 3rd through 8th place,
yeah,
could jump up the leaderboard so far and put so much money, extra money in their pocket. I mean, as you said before, 500,000 difference. That's over 100,000 extra in your pocket.
Yeah, literally, if you're on that first page, if you're not Nova, of course, if you get one chicken dinner, I think that will be you in second place. Of course, if you get a lot of elimination. So one chicken dinner for one of these top teams is going to be super important. So when you get to the late game, things is going to get really, really stressed out for a lot of these teams.
And I mean, some of this team is currently on the first page. You mentioned it just now. They do have to worry, as we are going to be looking at the recap here, but I kind of want to focus a little bit more on what you were talking about earlier. Thank you, thank you. Hey, do you like the shirt?
You've been working out. Rowing machine, right?
Yes. Let's not talk about that. Anyways, going to the teams on the second page, you mentioned some of those teams that might be just fighting to get a little bit closer to that 10th spot. And guess what? What we tend to see, especially in the last game, we tend to see teams being a little bit more riskier. We tend to see teams maybe willing to hot drop or not hot drop, but at least try to just hunt down some of the other teams and make them look bad and make themselves look good. After all, these players do have some kind of ego, do have some kind of pride, and they don't want to be in that 16th place. So some of the other teams need to watch out. I'm looking at Enigma Galaxy. I'm looking at Nextria as well. We haven't heard from Nextria in such a long time, so those teams need to watch out for the teams that are currently the second page that are looking to not be last in the leaderboard.
Yeah, at least if you're on the bottom of the leaderboard, right, at least you've got an advantage compared to teams at the top. At the top, if you take a risk, that might be the reason why you lose out on, I don't know, $450,000. Whereas if you're at the bottom, you might not even lose anything because you've got some prize pools that are the same on those bottom positions. So if you want to try things out for the last game, have some fun, do it for the memes and see if things tend to work out. But here we go. Seeing the rotation.
The memes. Yeah, the biggest tournament of the year with the biggest prize pool we've ever had.
It can't beat meme culture, okay? But there you go. That was the big wide rotation, get access to the high ground position. Saw Enigma Galaxy, you also saw and got the information onto Alpha 7. And Alpha 7 and Enigma Galaxy trying to take each other out. And the moment that Na'Vi, as they tend to do, I have the impression they do this every game. I sound like a broken record, but it's a strat that's been working time and time again for them. The moment they see that player count is low and they have a man advantage, or it's a 4v4, and they have the turn advantage, they are going to go hyper aggressive, taking that throwing control under their wings, and just the execution is clean from start to finish every single time. Like, you can't escape these type of splits coming up from Na'Vi, and just Enigma Galaxy, what have to do is wait and die.
Yeah, and we're seeing what Na'Vi is able to do when they put themselves in a position where they can actually frag out, right? We've seen it over and over again. Now, I kind of want to go back to the point that you just mentioned with some of the teams at the bottom not really having to worry about the big discrepancy in regards to prize pool. I mean, if you're 16th place, you're going to end up getting with $51,000. And then if you make it, I believe, up to 11th place, the difference is about $9,000. It's not...
lose $9,000 in the back of your car. Could you help me out? Can you give me a small loan of $9 grand?
Yeah, I'll send you some NFTs.
Well, the fact is, like, the pressure at the top for Nova, I don't think they have any pressure.
There's no pressure.
Right? There's no pressure at all. I don't think any team can catch you unless we have our biggest victory in PUBG Mobile history of like 20+ eliminations plus the chicken dinner, and then Nova has to still get 0 points. Technically, it is possible. Realistically, it's not very possible, but we'll find out if reality...
There's a chance?
There's a chance. You're saying there's a chance. Yes, I am. But you have to stick around for the final match here, PMGC 2021, coming up right after this break.
saw the first light, the first steps. Now I see much more. I capture Earth in all its beauty. I see action. I see drama. And I see it in the finest detail. Moments of inspiration. And the first steps. I am the 1+9.
Here we go. The culmination of an entire year of not being kicked off the show just yet, but I can't quite say that for some people. Oh, no, wait. Actually, they're still here. I thought it was someone else. Seven slowly slips into oblivion. We got MaxBand and Several Worlds Gaming here to continue to break things down. And we're looking at Nova. Pretty set in stone. Is possible they technically could be passed. Realistically, probably not. But our eyes are mostly focused on all these other teams. There's a lot of money, if you guys missed out on the last little segment there before we went to break. A lot of money to be gained by teams. I think it was over 500,000 you mentioned if you go from 10th to 2nd.
Yeah, if you go from 2nd to 8th, there is about a $563,000 difference. Which, I mean, all these teams are currently looking at Nova and they're like, it must be nice.
I wish I could be you, my boy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I want to be like you, my boy.
Like Terrorboy?
Yes. I mean, whew, boy.
I
Bank
wish.
Well,
account would love it.
you can see we're going to be ending things off as we started heading over to Erangel. And, you know, honestly, even at the end of the day, when we do finish off this entire event, no team should come out of this with their head down. They should come out with their head held high because they are still one of the best teams in the world. They still got to participate against the best teams in the world and obviously make a name for themselves. And look forward to the next year. More money to be made, a lot more opportunities, and more importantly, a lot more competition coming for you, right? You can't rest of, okay, you know, we got 5th place. Boy, you got so many people in your own region trying to chase you to take that title away from you and take your position next year at PMGC.
Yeah, I think this is a big message to all those regions, especially the regions that didn't even make it here, that might have dominated in, I'm thinking of NA, I'm thinking of Knights, yes. There's no stopping. Even if you are doing amazing right now in North America, this team, you currently see in Parable, you're currently seeing Order, this players and this team is improving year over year over year. It doesn't matter if they continue to win the championships. Sometimes we see a loss of drive between certain players, between certain teams. And that's something that I actually love about Nova. We haven't seen any loss of drive. We actually see them wanting to continue to improve themselves. And I would be shocked if we don't see Nova again in the next year. And for some other teams, keep on grinding. Like, it doesn't stop now. Work twice as hard, and more than likely you might be able to be here next year.
And one thing that I think is very interesting to bring up, actually, is that now we know that PL is going to go in that third-person mode, right? It's going to be switching from first-person to third-person mode. And normally when they would go from these PL setting to a international setting such as PMGC, they would have that time to adapt from FPP to TPP or such and such, depending on which way they're going.
Yeah.
And now they're not going to have that issue anymore. And I'm thinking like other teams too, like potentially 6-2A, also you had your Southong Jiaobao, they're not going to have to adapt that much anymore coming into these international events. So the Chinese teams could get even better coming into next year, and that's a very scary prospect.
So scary.
Yeah.
I mean, you say they don't need to adapt coming to the event. It didn't even look like they needed to adapt. I mean, it's not like Nova was bad.
Bank account would love it.
Well, you can see we're going to be ending things off as we started heading over to Erangel. And, you know, honestly,
a year's worth of competition And it is all but decided for this top spot, Blank. Nova sat so far ahead. They seem uncatchable, but the second place position so closely fought.
So closely fought for here. And honestly, looking at the average points over angle, Stalwart might have been a good choice here for Max to watch. Honestly, a great team that today I'm a fan of. And I think that realistically, there is actually a chance and a world where Stalwart ends up in second place. It would require some crazy things to happen. It would require Nigma guys to go out early. It would require Na'Vi to go out early. But there is a chance here. There is a chance for them to move up. Next Furia as well as them. But coming into this game, John, it's all about Na'Vi. It's all about Nigma Galaxy. Who's going to take that 600,000? That is the question.
It's a 300,000 difference between second place and third place. So it is no small amount. And that's got to be weighing on your mind. You've got to make sure that you're focused entirely on this game. A western plane path kind to the Georgia Pole teams, but there's going to be a lot of teams on that western side, and the circle might prove to be tricky for them, depending on where it lands. It's an eastern side circle, so early rotations potentially necessary for those Georgia Pole teams.
Absolutely. Moving up towards box compound, possibly up towards that northern side over the top of Severny and back down again. Could be potentially the play here, but for Stalwart, very happy indeed. Moving up towards Nova up Naya. You know, honestly, getting up that eastern bridge, easily done. Easily done. Nova, on the other hand, going for that split with Big Milo in for Furious Gaming. Poor Tigers in sent out after his phenomenal performance, in my opinion, on Miramar, able to keep them for a little while and fighting off against Nova. But perhaps that was too much of a terror for Tigers in. He was had to sub out whilst he was dealing from the mental carnage that comes after that. Klutchkov, as well as Samaraj, back in the vehicles. Hopefully Samaraj can actually be on for a little bit longer this game. That's the hope, honestly. 6-8 though. Down towards Quarry and Stalwart here. Need Nova up Neuer.
Next Ruya in contention. I mean, this is a team that we heard a lot about in the first day's games, but then sort of since then they've been just chugging along Nova style, right? And just keeping up and not really having those stand-up performances that we were so impressed by in that first day in the earlier parts of this 18-game set. And at the moment, it's all about Na'Vi's performances, I think. I think that my focus is really on that one team, on the Na'Vi squad, because it's the only team from the West that's really stood up towards the end of this tournament.
I think so, yeah. And to be honest with you, right, looking at the West, they have been beaten down throughout these international tournaments for a very, very long time. And I don't think we've truly had that champion towards the top for West for a long, long time now. And Na'Vi really is, you know, saddling up with the armor on the horse. They are our champion in the West. And I think that supporting them is something that we should do, because yes, Nova's probably going to win another tournament back to back, and it is phenomenal. But seeing someone else up there towards the top of the tables and it not being East SEA dominated is a really cool change of pace. I think the SEA team's extremely strong. I think this year there was a slight change in meta a little bit, but I think Na'Vi's been slowly picking up pace as we've gone on. And I do think they deserve to be in that second place spot, but equally, Nigma Galaxy. It really tears my heart apart, because I think seeing an Arabic team here in second place is such a wonderful change as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you've got, and this is the thing, right? It's no longer SEA dominated towards those East League teams. You've got Nova obviously coming from China, and then, as you say, Nigma Galaxy coming from, well, predominantly Iraq and an Arabic team coming on through, and then Na'Vi playing primarily from Russia. And then you've got Next Ruya playing from Turkey, a massive region for PUBG Mobile. And then you follow that up with Stalwart coming from Mongolia. And you aren't seeing SEA towards the top here almost at all.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, it's crazy as well, because we thought, you know, Mongolia would end with Zeus not getting into this, but there's another Mongolian team here. So we're really getting a bunch of talent out of these very, very different regions coming into PMGC Grand Finals. Wonderful to see. Honestly, really makes my heart sing, not tear apart in this situation. So happy days all around for the PMGC Grand Finals. After dark days ahead, or at least a dark day here for some of these teams really pushing for those big numbers when everything is on the line right now, where everything is still available. And it's like running into the supermarket to try and pick up whatever you can from the reduced section. There's also about another 50 people there with you, scrambling, looking for something.
You know who likes deals in supermarkets?
Who?
Saitama.
That's true. That's true.
And he knocks anyone out who stands in his way. That's just how it is. Carnage Cabotox nearly made him miss the sale. Didn't happen.
Didn't happen, mate. But unfortunately, Nova is kind of our Saitama here. They have hit the one punch into this tournament and knocked out the water. Now we're just looking for some minor villains, or heroes in this case. Let's say heroes in Na'Vi Enigma Galaxy, duking out for that S rank towards the top. Try and pick up that second place.
Hopefully going to pass all the tests that come their way and jump on up. Is a gap of just 11 points blank. And those 11 points span a massive, massive difference in prize pool of $120,000. That's more than $10,000 a point.
Checking out these Alim proportions, though, very interesting, because I think Na'Vi is quite equalized across the board, right? No, everyone's putting in the work there. Then the rest of the teams, you got Lord clearing ahead, Order. I mean, you can't even see him. That's how far ahead he is, and Frozen similarly in that kind of position on the horizon. So there's some very clear individual winners from each of those, but Na'Vi much more of that team-centric type of unit, and I like that from them. But still, it's great to see some star players being formed. You know, Frozen from Turkey. God, I've not really seen too much of this guy before, but he's left a mark in my mind, and one that will be remembered into the future. And if anyone deserves the name of Frozen, cold as ice, definitely him.
Won't be letting this spot towards the top of the tables go with any luck. 4th place in the lead right now for that charge. The Infinity, the number of times they've crossed this bridge, they should have it down pat. And it's back to basics blank. This is what we saw at the start of the East League. It's 6-2-8 guarding out the bridge. Mela doesn't make it through. He doesn't manage to sneak his way under the stanchions. But now she gives up the high ground position, allows Nuzi to come back, and with Mela on the guard, potential for the Infinity to guard it out, but no, doesn't quite make it.
This is so funny to me because 6-8 are really squeezing. In fact, Down One's done this before, where, you know, they try something that no one expects in those final moments. Specifically in the East League finals, they play central.
Infinity now, though, slowed down and split. Godtani very separate from the remaining duo on Sosnovka. So they back on up, and Storm actually still holding that bridge for the Eastern Crossing. They're waiting for the Infinity to eventually come out their way. They might just be able to pick up a couple of points for it. Nuzi and Logan, they don't know what waits for them.
Yeah, real sad times here for the Infinity. You know, blocked on both entrances. Circle heads down towards Milta, Shelter, and Prison. I mean, if we're going to be going down to Milta Power, kind of that place you go when you have nowhere left to stay. Most teams are going to try and place themselves around Shelter. You know, Shelter's kind of that elevated position, but also doesn't give you much cover either. So not a place you want to end up unless you're underneath in the Shelter itself, of course. It's in the name.
It is. It is in the name. That's so right. Wow. But Fenerbahce. Oh dear. What a central crunch. I'm going to go back to the game on this one. What a central crunch for all of these teams. This is everybody trying to play Nova's strategy right now. Get in the middle and take space, right? Fenerbahce in the middle. I can't even see the names of these teams, quite frankly. They are all overlaid on one another on my map. And it's just really going to be so difficult to find these positions. And that might play to Na'Vi's advantage.
Absolutely. Playing edge play the entire tournament, not switching up here for the final game. They're sticking true to their roots, John. I respect it. Order already finds a shot over towards next Ruya on Kadir. Let's go down. Playing down towards this cheeky compound on the actual bend of the road. Na'Vi's heading down that way as well. We've got to be careful. Got to be real cautious here. Can't let it all slip away. That's Enigma Galaxy taking a fair few knocks over their side. This is dangerous.
Everybody moving in. There is just no opening. Freak down in the open, and only 2 players remain for Enigma Galaxy standing.
Team Secret also picked up 1 player in the process there. So unfortunate for Enigma Galaxy. Freak also now flushed. Now just down to 2, and realistically, Enigma Galaxy plays best on our angle when they have 4 and they have that central position. It's that crunch that you mentioned earlier, John, which has changed everything for them. And as 2 players, Max put it best on the desk, saying that they really don't have that team fighting capability at the moment. The majority of their points come from placements. 2 players is not enough here on our angle.
With 2 players, they know nothing of the crunch. It's just not going to go their way. I mean, they've got 1 point between them and Na'Vi. Their only hope now is survive as long as you can and hope Na'Vi goes down. But Na'Vi are not going to go down without a fight.
Na'Vi were born in the crunch, you know. They live in the crunch. We'll see how far they can go, but they've had some drastic games behind them, honestly. We will continue saying that they've had a rough tournament, specifically just from circles, and sometimes that's how it is, and it takes a real team to be able to overcome those rough roads, rough waters, and come out in 3rd place here at the end of the day. So I really respect it, and I think that last game was a long time coming on Miramar, where they had the circle come to them for once, but instead, I mean, a circle center right up in the middle here, John, so teams still vying for that position. Fenerbahce around Enigma Galaxy's spot. They can't really move too far down towards the south side either, because 628, the Infinity, Stalwart, they're all on their way. Somehow the Infinity's made it through with 3 players. I believe that was because they took a botation from the Sosnovka. 2 mil to power. I'm going to keep calling it the Sosnovka.
The Sozzy.
The Soz?
The Sozzy on the south Sozzy.
Exactly.
Sozzy on the south bank. Nice stuff. But next, Ruya and their run might be drawn short. Looking for the sprays across the way for rivals. Managed to find 1 and 2 as well. And Na'Vi's opponents dropping around them. It's all on whether they can perform from the Northwest sweep.
Absolutely. 628 still on the hunt here. We talked about it before. These guys have the hunting caps firmly placed on their heads. Nihat goes down to a beautiful nade coming through from Down 1 Gaming. Yekta, last remaining for next Ruya, and hopes and dreams may just die right here for Turkey.
In danger as well from players beneath them on the tables. They are only 1 point clear of Stalwart, and with that, their tournament is over. Their season is over as well. Next Ruya are first eliminated in this final game.
In the meantime, sorry to cut you off there, John. Na'Vi actually picked up 1 knock over towards Nova, finding Order out in the midst, alone, away from his team. They're searching for the players right now. Jimmy's trying to provide support.
Where really for them to go right now without contestation. DXavior are ahead of them. You've got Godlike as well across the way to the north, and Na'Vi have an excellent spread out the back.
One thing that we have to remember right now, though, is that 1 elimination gained right at the beginning of the game for 628. They're on the hunt right now, the prowl for the Infinity, and I want to see how far 628 can go here, and just how much that 1 point does mean as we finish out this game, because it could be the difference between leapfrogging someone and not.
Looks like they are going to still be pretty closely fought with the Infinity, who are, again, taking shots from Team Secret towards the prison position. The top of those hills going to be occupied. And Nuzi behind some flimsy metal. How long will that hold and provide sanctuary?
That's the real question there. Just got a message from Jason, actually, saying that Down 1 Gaming are the dream killers. First it was Enigma Galaxy, then it was next Ruya. And he couldn't be more right here. Honestly, Dream Eaters here in the lobby from Korea. Honestly, being in 11th place, 114 points, it's not where they wanted to end up. But, you know, winning the East League Finals is an accolade of its own. Such a difficult region to play in with many, many experienced players. Stalwart taking huge amounts of damage as well. Nuzi in the vehicle, but they're directly running into S2G. 4 rivals breaching Down 1.
Chaos everywhere. 4 rivals as well. 3 players alive. Take down the Dream Eaters themselves. They wake up from the nightmare and they will survive. But Stalwart come a cropper. They rampage straight into S2G, and they will rage into the night as we say goodbye to them for their season.
Now it's time for 628, Na'Vi and Nigma Galaxy. It's all out war right now for that $600,000 and pride to come out on top in the podium for this. And honestly, if we did see 628 getting the podium finish and 2 Chinese teams come out on top, I will be so impressed.
How many Hatsu would you eat if that happens? But here goes Hamodi up to bat against the push from Team Secret. Goes down early. Nobody to fall, and it's just Ralph. The epitome of survival left for Nigma Galaxy. He does it on Sandhawk, and nobody knows how. But now it's so important for him to do the same on Erangel. But with 13 teams remaining, how much further can he go, and how long can they keep Na'Vi at bay?
Literal Bear Grylls Ralph. Gonna have to drink his own bullets here to survive. See if he can make it happen. 628 taking huge amounts of damage there from
elimination coming through for Na'Vi. They've leapfrogged over Nigma Galaxy now. They are 1 point in the lead, and they lose the tiebreaker, Blank.
They will not have to go much further. Honestly, for Na'Vi to solidify this position. Remember, they do not know the current situation that Nigma Galaxy is in. So they're going to be fighting tooth and nail to make it to the end of the game and get that second place. But Ralph really needs to get those big points. But Na'Vi, once they get rolling, it's a fair few limbs coming their way. And I'm not sure the survival specialist can make it out with just 12 points. But he's taking fire into the smoke.
Oh, so dangerous for Ralph right now. See how long he can last. And maybe even pick up a couple more points. If Na'Vi go down now, there's a chance. If they do badly in their fight on the Southwest with Furious Gaming, who they're very close by right now. Nova still going on the northern side as well.
The Xavier down in 10th place. I think they deserve more, honestly. I think the improvement between East League Finals and now has been dramatic. No longer something that was gifted to them, but something that they deserve. See them go a little bit further. Furious Gaming, though, come under fire from Na'Vi, and this has been quite some time. I think you can be furious indeed, but you'll never be as furious as Na'Vi right now, looking to take back that second spot.
And there's the shift coming through. It goes up to the north, towards Nova, towards DXavier and Godlike as well. And actually to the last player from the Infinity. Alpha 7 moving through Team Secret ground right now as Carrillo does a wild sweep, gathers info. Fredo not able to get the shot onto him, but Center Texas not so lucky. Mafioso similarly fated. And Jumper on the off angle looking for the spray down. Gets a little bit of damage, but has to duck back behind the tree. The limbs providing cover for now.
Fredo moving up. Hugely clutch player from Team Secret. Revo has to hit the deck for a little bit longer. Carrillo trying to provide support for Senatexa.
Jumper still behind the tree. Has to be worried as the res can come through over towards Senatexa. And they'll have to leave. To their north, they've got the 4 rivals to worry about. And it's such a difficult rotation, but Jumper into the UAZ. Fredo into the buggy as well. And Alpha 7 mounts up. They're looking for the res. Over onto Mafioso, and Carrillo gets ahead of the game. Fredo trying to suppress the backlines, try to stop that crunch back up, and Carrillo goes down. A Molotov to burn him out.
In for A7. Honestly, with 5 limbs this game, there's a real potential for A7 to ladder up quite a bit during this game. But a beautiful nade from Ralph, in particular, will at least take down 1.
And that's absolutely crucial, getting themselves a couple more points, keeping themselves closer to Na'Vi, Blank. But Ralph has been spotted. Eye shots last for Team Secret as the blue takes over Nigma Galaxy, the last remaining player, and he falls. It's S2G to put the nail in the coffin, and Na'Vi claim that second place. No real way for the Infinity to get back into this one, and it is looking good for them to take home this second place title.
I believe that right now will be the 600,000 made right now for Na'Vi. Nigma Galaxy, sadly, will have to go home with this 3rd place. S2G, they're really on the long haul right now, though. With 6 limbs so far, this team definitely can ladder up quite a fair bit here, John.
The mark that they're looking at right now is next Ruya, 141 points with no elims on this game. If they go down here, it's not going to be great, but if they can keep on pushing, they need a total blank of 11 points on this game. They've got 7 of them already. I think they might have actually jumped up quite a bit just on placement. Blank, I think they might be there. It's DXavier who's trying to keep up right now.
138 tied now with the Infinity and Alpha 7. A little bit further, perhaps even get a 6th place after they pass that 140-point mark. Na'Vi is on a tear though right now in the vehicles versus DXavier.
They're pushing into the bunker as well, but Matic goes down early. Meku's still healthy, but Lamborghini's there. And just like that, in the blink of an eye, Na'Vi down. DXavier, hold on. And they are still going, but look at that, S2G in the meantime, they've been doing work. Picking up a couple of those kills puts them up to double-digit elims. 4 teams remain.
10 elims here is unbelievable from S2G. This team came out hot in the West, looked good for it. In these final moments, they're clawing it back, and I don't know how they're making this happen, but 10 elims is good. 7 moves out.
And not only that, Blank, remember they still have placement points yet to be added to the total. They will have jumped up over next Ruya. Blank, they're in 4th place currently.
This is beautiful stuff. They have pushed it to the limit right now. S2G just down to Calci, sadly. But Godlike still in this one with 4 players alive. And you know what? It would be a beautiful ending to see India grab this chicken dinner right at the end of the tournament.
Paraboy, 3 players alive for Nova. And they're holding out on the southwest side, but Godlike do have a commanding presence here.
Godlike, Samaraj will find one from S2G, just Timber last. Great player with the clutch ability, but Paraboy wants nothing of it from DXavier. They're sending them home right now.
This is the metal that champions are made of. You cannot step up without feeling the brunt of it. King does go down, sure, but DXavier getting cut out of this final bargain. And 3 teams remain. S2G on 1 player.
Final left alive. Godlike is the new threat for Nova. Just 2 alive right now in terms of teams. Godlike looking to have at least a significant ending for themselves.
All to themselves. There is no opening for Nova to go for unless they get an off angle. King is down, but Clutch God falls, and it's Paraboy and Jimmy once again, the final duo from Nova. Can they stop this rotation? Paraboy swings the buggy out, repositions, but goes down, and Godlike want to do India proud with this final game. They are looking to take down Jimmy, the last they need, and it is the final push. Jonathan, an excellent representative for the Indian region, looking to clamber their way up those tables as well, with a great elimination count, with excellent placement points as well. They are looking good to climb up pretty far here, a lot more than maybe you would have expected at the start of today, and it is just Jimmy left. Paraboy Reservoir.
Actually able to get underneath into shelter, and like you said, he's Reservoir here. Samaraj kind of has a whiff of what's going on, moves up to try and finish them off, move back into shelter, trying to get the healing off here and move round. This is interesting play coming out from Nova and could be good for it.
And they're playing with their food at this point. Or rather playing with the sharks that they are about to feed. It feels like Godlike have this one unlocked, but do not count Paraboy and Jimmy out. They are running out into the blue and they're going for it, but Godlike have the run out. They know exactly what the season. Finally taking down Nova.
And I get to see that beautiful smile from Jonathan once again, and that makes me happy. Samaraj, though, seems to be a real game changer in those last couple of matches, though. You like to see it, and Godlike with the chicken dinner. What a fantastic ending. So many shifts and turns, but down one, the Dream Killers, next Ruya, as well as Enigma Galaxy. Next Ruya been able to survive a little bit longer. Perhaps S2G wouldn't have been able to leapfrog them because they would have been able to hold on to that position for just a while more. So unfortunate, but S2G in those final moments, killer.
absolutely phenomenal stuff coming through. Getting as many points onto the table as possible, laddering all the way up towards the top of those tables. And Na'Vi similarly able to bump Enigma Galaxy off. It felt like
They really played their hearts out in those final games, especially today overall, even with the shifts and turns which were so difficult to work around with, they still made it happen. Let's take a quick look at the match rankings here. Godlike, look at them right on top. It's S2G with a total of 20 points there. Well done to them. Nova with 15 in third. Come on, you just really can't count this team out ever. But Na'Vi with the 12 points, and Enigma Galaxy with a sad 2.
just not enough. Right at the end, Na'Vi were able to dig their heels in and dig deep to push up to that second place. This is a team that has been going for so long, and rightly so. The performance that they put on today and towards the latter half of this tournament, they've done a tour de force of the entire tables, Blank. They were right down towards the bottom at the start of this, and they pushed all the way up. But speaking of pushing up, it's Godlike. I mean, Jonathan, MVP of this final game. What a way to close it out. This guy has been a name on the lips of any Indian PUBG Mobile fan for years now. And what a way to finish it, getting that final MVP title in this final match.
Absolutely. And for India, you know, this is a result, in my opinion, because they've not had chance to play against any of the other teams. Getting invited here and putting on a performance like that, despite everything, is wonderful.
Down as the way they go. But Blank, there can be only one winner. And you know what? I wonder who it could be.
Well, there can only be one, and that is why the slogan is "Be the One" here. And it's taken a year of play. They've come from China. They played against the best teams in the world. Your PMGC Global Championships 2021 winners are Nova Esports.
Just
It's sunk in indeed, honestly, Seven. Not only have they done it here in 2021, they did it in 2020, really proving not only is China the most dominant region when it comes to PUBG Mobile, Nova is the most dominant region. Yes, they're the
biggest prize pool ever won in mobile gaming history from this team, and they make it happen back to back right now. It's just insane to see that come into fruition. Every single team we see things that can be improved upon. One team where I just can't see things be improved upon that much, it just has to be Nova. Every single situation you throw their way, they find a way out of it. They find a way to get those chicken dinners. And man, now my question is going to be that race to MVP. Who is it going to be? I do not know.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, and I think that's the main thing, the main focus here, right? Nova gets it back-to-back, but they do it in an impressive way, and it's not just Paraboy that they're relying on. Now they got Order. We saw what Jimmy was able to do there. I mean, we finally got our answer there at the end. They're being able to, they are their biggest enemy in a way, right? But overall, I mean, Nova, the improvements that we have seen from some players, the consistency that we have seen at Paraboy, nobody could touch Nova in this tournament.
thing is, this year we've been talking every single step of the way. Every region has stepped up. We've seen so many new names come into the PUBG Mobile scene at the highest level and surprise us, pull off upsets. Where are the old guard? Where's your Bigatron? Where's your footballs? Where is your, well, I guess ghosts we'll call them right now. I don't know what you want to call them. Where are these teams we saw be so dominant in the last years? That is just a statement of how many good players and how many good teams have come into the light. And yet the light always shines brightest for Nova. They still maintain their dominance, but also do it in quite a fashion. The amount of points they were ahead of everyone, that is an amazing sign for them as a team.
Yeah, I think in particular that second day is going to go down in history as one of the biggest days for any team in PMGC history, right? What was that? 3 second places, a chicken dinner. Also, they got himself a 7th place with 10 eliminations. You just can't beat that. That is definitely the day that set them apart from the rest. Started creating that huge lead. And it's just not possible to catch up in that third day. So, I mean, yeah, as I said, they're going to start going out of place on that jersey to get those stars because they're just getting championship after championship, winning tournament after tournament, and they just don't seem like they want to stop, and understandably so. Like, if you can get the prize pool like that every time, like, keep going.
You mentioned amazing performances. We have to point out the amazing performance that Order have, right? Especially on day 2. He was able to just differentiate himself from anybody. The first day we were talking about Frozen, what he was going to be able to do in the second day, and then Order just came out of nowhere. He was challenging there, but we just didn't expect the likes of that performance for him to be able to jump up. I think he had somewhere along the lines of 13 elims on the first day, and then on the end of the second day, he had 35 elims. That is just outstanding performance.
The thing is, right, we can obviously say everyone on Nova's side They never would have done it without them. But you look at day 2, as we've been talking about, if Order didn't have that kind of performance, I don't know.
One, when Paraboy didn't really have the best performance on that day too, would they have Order being able to show up and make sure they got there on that first place?
Max, let me remind you, we look at Nova and the way they won this tournament, but cast your mind back about a month ago. They finished 16th place in the Super Weekends. They almost didn't even make it into PMGC. They didn't, or sorry, into the finals of PMGC, let alone the grand finals. If we talk about individual performances back then, if Paraboy didn't have a performance like that, they never would have made it here today. And yeah, they might show a couple of weaknesses here or there with lower places when it comes to league stages, but they always show up in the finals.
I would even take us even further back. You know, they missed out also on the Super Weekend in last PMGC.
Yeah.
It just goes to show that they're just trying strategies which can hurt them on the long run. You know, in those PMGC league stages where they try and qualify for the Super Weekend. But the thing is, that is a time where you can adapt, try things out, and then they arrive in this PMGC Grand Finals super prepared, just miles ahead of the rest, and that preparation is what allows them to be championship caliber team and now a world champion caliber team once again back to back because they're willing to try things out in the league stage.
I got your back here. Not even the Avengers could take on Nova Esports. Avenger level threat, that's not even a thing anymore. I mean, Nova is the threat for everyone else out there, and I don't know what team can dethrone them in the future.
I mean, at this point, I would say Navi has finally shown me something that we've been wondering, and it's can they continue to perform tournament after tournament? They were able to showcase, especially on a small, on 3 days of a finals, right? During West League, they were able to get that second place. Here, they're able to get that second place as well. So I'm going to say, Navi, I'm going to be looking at you. You guys have been performing really well. I would love to see what they're going to be able to do in the future. But with Nova, I love what you mentioned there. They didn't make it to a Super Weekend this time around. They didn't make it to a Super Weekend last year, but it did not matter at the end of the day. And that's how confident these players are on their skills. They don't mind messing around a little bit, trying different things, maybe sandbagging in a way. But Nova's just out of this world.
Out of this world indeed, and luckily for us, we do obviously have the chance to chat with them a little bit as well, as we do have an interview here with our PUBG Mobile Global Champions in 2021. It's Nova Esports, and let's find out who it's going to be with.
Hello everyone, this is post-game interview. I'm Garena. It's very glad to see you again. And now the competition of PMGC Grand Final was all over. A champion has emerged, and now let's connect to them. Hello, 大家好。
Hello， 大家好。Hello。
Hello everyone, this is NV。好，那接下来其实呢，我们也想简单的来采访一下大家。第一个问题呢，想问一下我们的 FMVP 这次夺冠的感受如何呢 ？And the first question, we want to ask the FMVP order. How does it feel to be the champion once again?
就是感觉不到什么压力吧，就是打得比较轻松，就是没别的了。
He said this is easily and there are no pressure. It's very easily. Okay, thank you. 好，那接下来第二个问题也想问一下我们所有的队员们，之后回去之后大家会一起怎样庆祝呢？What are you going to do to celebrate it?